Welcome to our amazing agents and investors from across the country. Today is the last Thursday of 2022. It is Thursday, December 29th, 2022, and this is All the Leads Mastermind podcast number 409. So let's start the New Year's Eve party early with Bruce. Go ahead, Bruce.
Welcome everybody and thank you guys for attending. As many of you are probably getting sick of hearing, as I've still got this lingering crud and cold symptoms, so I'm going to be coughing in everyone's ear all day. But I want to thank you guys for showing up. Just a little bit of housekeeping to kind of get everything started is this is here for you guys to ask your questions, share your success stories, primarily geared around probate, pre-probate, and divorce leads. So if you have other real estate topics that you'd like to discuss, structuring deals, prospecting, different things like that, we can answer those questions because we are real estate coaches. But we're really here to kind of get your business up and running in that transition type of business, which is our specialty. And that again is probate, pre-probate, and divorce focus. If you have a win, you've been getting some leads, you've been going on appointments, you've set appointments up, great conversations, whatever that is, we want to hear those. As a matter of fact, we have a winner of the week every week. As long as someone has a win that they're willing to share, we have a winner of the week every week. You're going to get a credit toward your leads or your marketing. We also have an idea of the week available every week. That also gives you a financial credit toward leads and marketing. So if you're doing something in your business that's working for you that other people could benefit from, we want to hear those as well. The majority of the interaction that we have on these calls is in the form of Q&A though. You can either chat your question in if you're watching us on a stream. So if you're watching us on YouTube live stream or Facebook live stream, chat those questions in. They'll come to us as coaches and we'll be able to answer your questions. But we'd really, really love to see hands go up on Zoom right here live on the Mastermind call and get those questions live. I like to see your faces. I like the interaction. It gets a little boring when us coaches just talk to each other. So please throw your hands up. We're here to help you guys. This is recorded, goes on to podcast format as well. Just in case you're not familiar with who All the Leads is, we provide those three different lead sources at the moment: probate, pre-probate, and divorce, along with marketing, systems, website systems, coaching, all the training that you need to work those leads. So if you're not currently working those leads, we'd be happy to talk to you guys about how we can get you started in these niches in your business. We appreciate everyone being here. With that said, before I pass it to the coaches, I do want to say, if you are live here and you want to raise your hand and ask a question, go down to the bottom of your screen and click the reactions button. It's just a little smiley face. Click that, and there's a bar right at the bottom that says raise hand. Do not click the hands that are clapping. I have that every single week. I see people clapping, and I think that you guys are really happy with something that I'm saying, when in reality you think that you're trying to raise your hand. That goes away. If you click raise hand, we'll actually call on you and ask you to unmute yourself for your question, your win, or your ideas. Okay. So please go ahead and get your hands up with those questions that you have. Don't make us wait until the very end of the call to field 500 questions. So love you guys. Excited for the call. Let me go ahead and turn it over to my fellow coaches. See if you guys have anything to say. I know Tim is going to have an announcement, maybe, correct?
Yeah, you don't know what I'm going to do. I'm always full of surprises. Let's start with Chuck.
So it's been a great holiday week. So hopefully everybody is also enjoying the holiday time period. And this is going to be our last podcast for 2022. One of the things that I came across this morning was some inputs from, out of the real estate industry, but, I have a number of friends and other coaches that are, teaching on how to be able to go get customers, right? So a lot of what we teach and we talk about is, having conversations, initiating conversations with our prospects. And to his point, he was also mentioning that it's really not something that you want to use a one script fits all. And you really need to understand specifically who it is that you're talking to and read them during that conversation. So that's something that I took away and was thinking about as the podcast was upcoming today, that we would go ahead and have that, conversation, that we teach a structure for the calls. Many of the folks coming in for orientation are like, Chuck, give me the scripts. Well, we don't have the scripts all written out, and I think it's for a very specific reason, that we want to structure your initial conversations with prospects that we provide you the leads and the contact information for. But really, you want to guide the conversation, but we don't want it to be scripted, because you definitely need to read that conversation. So I'm just anticipating some of those questions that may come up today during our podcast. And that's one of the reasons why is to have that authentic conversation with your prospect. Don't go at it with a script.
Yep. Exactly. Don't think that you've got to script out those conversations. The more scripted you feel like you have to be, the more of a perfectionist you're going to feel like you need to be. And I find that most people, when they think that they have to be perfect at it, they don't take action. So we want you guys taking action. Part of the prospecting mastery class that I teach once a month just gives you guys an outline. And in that outline, we go over what your opening needs to look like. And here are some of the topics that you can cover in your opening. Not all, not in any particular order, but see, here are some of the things you can cover in the opening. Here's what your pitch needs to look like. Here's some things you can cover. Here's what your questions need to look like. Here's a few of them to get answered. You don't have to go down the line. I used to have this seller green sheet that we'd follow every time a seller lead came in. And my agents would go through and they'd have this, we called it a green sheet just because it was on green construction paper. And so they'd go through and they'd have all these questions, and they'd feel like they had to go line by line by line, when in reality, sometimes something as simple as, hey, tell me a little bit about your situation, will answer 15 of those questions, because you get the person talking and you don't have to go in order. So that's the same thing with your probate conversation or your divorce conversation. You do not have to go in order. You don't have to follow a script. You just need to know a general outline of the way that conversation normally goes. And that's what we teach. All right, Tim.
Well, I'm confused now. I've got this script I was going to read, so I guess I'll have to put that down. And
no, we need you sticking on script, Tim.
Please.
Jim, do you have anything? I'm gonna cover something now and then at the end. Jim, you want to say anything now, or?
I'm good to go for now. Go ahead.
Okay. So I want to talk real quickly about, just a quick look back at this year and then where we're heading. So a lot of you, we've been one of the most positive things we did this year was convert this to a Zoom call. And the reason I say that is that, first of all, it's massively changed our participation. I think people get more out of it, and I think that's a good thing. But we've just had a lot more people on it. We get a lot more feedback. We get a lot more good things coming out of it. And that's always good. We enjoy doing these. And as Bruce said, we like to see your smiling faces. But I talk about where we're heading as a company. So as Bruce said, when we started, we are, we've primarily been focused over the years only on probate. We added pre-probate. We jumped in a little bit, kind of up to our toes and about halfway up our feet on divorce, and kind of got started with that last year. This year, things are going to change pretty dramatically. We are doing a number of things right now behind the scenes that you guys will see in the first quarter of this year that will pretty dramatically change our relationship with you. Certainly everything that we're doing, we're going to continue to do, but we're going to add a lot more to it. In addition to just doing probate, pre-probate, and divorce, we're adding pretty much any lead type that you would normally get and doing it at a very competitive rate to make sure that we're going to live up to our name. When we started the company, we named it All the Leads. It was always our intention to be able to offer as many different lead types as we could, as long as we could add value to it and not just be a lead reseller. There are a lot of people out there that are doing that. And I've always objected to that because I think for the most part, if all you do is sell somebody leads, it's like selling somebody fish bait and you don't explain to them how to do fishing. You don't tell them how the rod works, how the reel works, where to fish, all that sort of stuff. And I don't believe in doing that. I've been around this industry a very, very long time and have seen a lot of people buy a lot of education that they didn't use and things that they didn't deploy. And we are different. We try to make sure that everything we do is designed to make you, as much as possible, hold you by the hand, make you successful. And we know that's what you want to do. If you do it and you're more successful, you're going to come back every month and look to us, and we can continue to feed our families and help you feed yours. So that's kind of what we're working on. So as part of that, we have gathered another entire company that we've acquired, pulled into our back end, and are able now to work on bringing any lead type in. And we'll be rolling that out within the first quarter. To do that, we're rewriting our software. Our CRM system has always been wrapped around probate and pretty much only probate. We, in the last 6 months, have spent a real long amount of time going into our CRM and making it very much more functional than it was before, allowing you to work any type of lead. And we're doing it in 2 revs. One is a phase 1, which should be out in January. That's our plan. We were shooting for getting it out at the end of December, and it's ready to go, but it's not quite where I wanted it to be. And we had some things that came up at the very end that we decided to add that we think are going to help dramatically. So we're waiting, and we're going to do it right. We're not in a big hurry to do it wrong, and we want to make sure that it's there. There are a lot of CRM options that are out there. We've obviously been giving ours away for a very long time, and we will continue to do that with a subscription. That's the intent, and has always been the intent. We're not trying to nickel and dime you, so we're not looking to put something in place that, we're going to get extra money for as it sits. We think it's going to be a highly valuable product, and there will be people who will want to just subscribe to use that. And that's great. If they do, we'll be happy about that. In addition to that and the new lead types, we're also going to be introducing a new program that will work for new subscribers, and we're going to make it available to existing subscribers as well. But it's basically a 90-day plan. It'll be a 90-day plan that literally will hold you by the hand over a 90-day period and walk you through every single thing that you'll need to do to end up becoming a community expert in probate, to be the focus within your industry of anytime anybody thinks of the word probate, your name's going to come up, whether that's attorneys, whether that's nursing homes, whether that's people who experience a loss, funeral homes, anybody in that marketplace. You're going to start rising to the top in terms of being top of mind whenever that comes up, not just as a person that handles real estate issues, but literally a focal point for that. If somebody got a problem, they want to think of your name, and we're there to help. We're going to be building the same kind of focus around all of the other lead types that we have, but we're starting with probate to do it and get you rolling on a 90-day program there. When you're done with that, we'll have other programs for the other lead types. Next one we'll roll out behind that will probably be divorce. And it's a machine-driven program with lots of human interaction built in. And the best part about it is it's going to help hold you accountable. Again, it's something that we're investing a ton of time, energy, money, and more importantly, thought process in to try to get it right. We think it's important to do it. It's always been our hope to try and make sure that we keep our customers happy. It keeps our retention up, keeps our churn down, and more importantly, it's done because you're being successful. So that's where we're heading next year. We are going to, in fact, be all the leads. We're going to be every kind of lead type that you're going to need. This is the right place to get it. We're also going to be extremely competitive for any type of printing that you need to go do. We'll also be doing the same things as far as any online presence that you need to do, whether it's just a probate website, whether you need to add additional elements to that site for different lead types or other purposes for other websites. We literally host thousands of websites, and we kind of don't talk a lot about that. We do all kinds of printing for all sorts of things, and we have not been trying to push that really hard. We've stayed very focused in this group around probate. Now we're going to let you know all the things that we do, and we hope that, we'll become your go-to for all the things that you need to help support your business. So just wanted to kind of give you a look under our kimono to show you the things that we're working on. We could certainly sit back and say, oh, well, we've done really well. It's been a great year. And all those things are true. But we know in the world and in the market today, if you sit back and watch, that's not going to work out very well long term. And it is a challenging market. Things are different now. The interest rate changes have made changes in everybody's market. There are still hot markets. There are markets that are very much cooled down. And what we're trying to do is focus on these life transition changes that are always going to be there. Everything that we do is wrapped around evergreens. It doesn't change. It's always going to be there. People are always going to need places to live, and life transitions are always going to create opportunity. So that's where we're focused right now. And I wanted to let you know about that. And then a bit later on in the call, we're going to talk about a little special that we've cooked up just for the people that are on the call, and only good between now and the end of the year. That'll kind of help you get started with a piece of this that will become important to you now and also through the rest of the next year. So we'll talk a little bit about that when we get a little further along in the call. And I guess I could say I'm dangling my carrot. Make sure you stick around because we've got a cool thing we want to talk to you about. And with that, I'm going to hand it back to Mr. Coffer. Go ahead, Bruce.
Thanks, Tim. By the way, this new CRM that we'll be rolling out is amazing. We wanted it to be something that would be a standalone CRM for you that you can load your own leads into. You can work as a part of your regular business, not just work our provided probate leads. Okay, so you guys are going to love it. One of the problems that I have in my life and in my business is I am a collector of cool gadgets. And I'm not talking physical gadgets, I'm talking technology. I've probably had 15 CRMs over my career. At any given point, I'm normally carrying 3 or 4 CRMs that I don't need. I carry them because I like the functionality of some of those, and I've always just used one. So my stupidity should be your all's gain when it comes to the functionality of the new All the Leads CRM that if you're a subscriber, you're going to get absolutely free. If you're not a subscriber, you're going to want to hold on to because it's going to be unbelievably affordable and a way that you can work you can manage your business, not just work your leads. So be on the lookout for that. I'm really excited about what I'm seeing out of the CRM build. So, with all that said, I do want to turn it over to some questions. I'm not seeing anything from you guys yet. Please let us know what deals you're working, what prospecting you're getting, what objections you're getting. Kind of let us know. So Trina just asked, is there a current CRM that I would compare the new ATL CRM to? No, it's a blend of probably 7 or 8 different CRMs that are out there. So it's a blend. What we're not doing is adding every component of every single good CRM that's out there, because that would be completely overwhelming. This is primarily going to be like 2 or 3 main core components that you guys are going to use. I've had CRMs that were unbelievably incredible, but you had to have a master's degree to operate. That's not this. Those of you that dropped out of high school will still be able to operate this CRM. Those of you who do have a master's degree are going to find it very beneficial as well. So we're looking forward to rolling that out very soon.
I think, yeah, and I want to comment on that as well. The challenge that's out there for us was exactly what Bruce said. We literally, I don't think there's any market significant CRM that we didn't spend a goodly amount of time looking at and reviewing, even the ones that, we'd not heard of. We did a lot of survey work to see what everybody else was using. And, we ran the gamut starting with, Salesforce. Salesforce has been out there a long time, and Salesforce can, do everything but cook dinner for you. But, that's the one that you can also, to get the maximum amount of value out of. It's very complicated. There are a lot of things that you have to know to make it work well. And it's not going to demean anybody else's product. But we've always held that our biggest focus is to try and make sure that our customers, our subscribers, spend their time doing the thing that's going to make them money, not playing around with software, not doing a bunch of other stuff. We want them to get up in the morning, have something that says, okay, here's the stuff you're supposed to do today. And when you do those things, here's a place to record and memorialize what you did that's going to populate what you're supposed to do tomorrow. And if you're doing that and you follow it as a logical program, and we help you along in the middle of it with your marketing, and it all works together, you got a pretty straightforward, simple system to service your needs. And if it'll service any kind of lead type that you want and allow you to pretty much do whatever you want, you've got a pretty easy system to work with. And that's our objective, was to have ease of use. And like Bruce said, not overcomplicate it with a lot of stuff that looks cool. And certainly, you know, there are a lot of features that a lot of CRMs have that I think are really cool. I would love them. And I would also be one of those people that might spend hours and hours in analysis and fall quickly into chasing rabbits and analysis paralysis. We're not going to give you the opportunity to do that. We're going to give you a simple, workable system that'll get the job done, not because we can't do the bigger systems or a more powerful system. We deliberately chose not to do it. We have the components to do all of it. We pulled stuff out of it that we didn't want to have, trying to make it easy to use. Now, we may add elements going forward of some of the things that we have that are maybe a bit more graphical and all that. There'll be a second release probably mid-year that'll add some more toys to the system and all that. But we're going to give you something you can use day one, and you'll love it. It's wrapped around your marketing, and it will do what we're talking about doing. And you get up in the morning, you get an email that says, hey, Bruce, here's the things you're supposed to do today based on what you told me yesterday and last week. And that's what you're looking for. So that's our design.
Yep. Awesome. All right. Cool deal. So now that we've got a couple of questions coming in, I'm going to encourage you guys to keep those questions coming. So far, they're chatted in through our live streaming platform. So if you are watching live stream, please continue to pop those questions in. We'll answer those on the call. If you are here, raise that hand. Let's hear from you. Let's hear what you're doing that's working, what's not working, give you some coaching. So first question up is from William. And William, you'll have to please clarify if I'm getting your question wrong or if I'm giving you the wrong answer. Just let us know in chat, and I'll adjust my answer. But do you need to contact the probate attorney if the client is if the client's coming directly to you? And again, William, if that is not my interpretation of your question is incorrect, just go ahead and clarify it in the comments, and I'll address it. But yes, if your client, if you get a client or someone that's come through your marketing or your prospecting and they're working with an attorney, 100% use that as an opportunity to reach out and establish a relationship with the attorney. What you want to do when you call that attorney is tell them, hey, look, I know you get billed by the hour. Can I have 5 minutes to talk about a mutual client of ours? I'm getting ready to work with Mr. and Mrs. Jones, and it looks like Mrs. Jones' father passed away, and it's for the estate of John Doe. I just wanted to let you know that I'm kind of working with them on doing some things for them with the real estate and getting the property cleaned out. And I wanted to see if maybe we could have an off-books coffee so that I could show you the things that I'll do and see if there's anything that I could kind of take off your plate, make your job easier. Okay, that's a courtesy call. It's quick, it's easy, it doesn't take up a bunch of time, billable hours that the client is going to have to pay out of the estate proceeds. So yes, if you're working with someone, call their attorney as quickly as possible and use that as a chance to forge a relationship. It'll lead to great places later. All right.
Hey, Bruce, if I could just add to that, I perceived that question a little bit differently, and I may be wrong.
Mm-hmm.
I took it as that he was asking, if someone contacts you directly, says, I want to list my house, do you need to go get the attorney's permission? And if maybe I was reading that wrong, but absolutely not. No, list the house, then call the attorney. But
yeah,
but Bruce's comment is also valid. Why would you not want to call the attorney if it was me, I'd get it listed first because, and then I'd call the attorney. And I'm not sure which way he meant that, but that way we gave you an answer either way.
Exactly. Yeah. The last thing that you want to do is call the attorney and say, "Hey, am I allowed to list this house?" And the attorney go, "Oh, hold on a second. Let me call you back." And then the attorney pick their phone up and call their other buddy agent and say, "Hey, this client's listing their house. You need to call them." So you don't want to give an opportunity to lose that business by asking someone who might have a different referral relationship. So list the property, call the attorney second. If it turns out that the client didn't have the authority to list the house, or the court has to be involved, or you did something wrong, fix it after the fact. But I would take the listing first, call the attorney second. If you're not at the place where you're ready to sign a deal or list the deal, so if you're an investor, if you're not at a place where you're ready to sign a contract yet, then at that point, use it as an opportunity to go forge a relationship with the attorney before you sign a contract. But if they're ready to go, get that deal inked. Okay. All right, awesome. So next question, someone had a question about working with an ISA, an inside sales associate. This is someone that I believe is hiring someone to do their prospecting for them. And they have a great question. And so this is from Randy. When using an ISA, should the ISA transfer a live call to me? Or should they take notes on the challenges and needs the executive has, and then pass it through to me for a follow-up call on my time? Now, Randy, you said the second scenario allows you time to prep for that call. I like it both ways. So if I'm working with an ISA and that ISA gets someone hot on the phone, they're ready to go, and the ISA knows that I'm generally flexible with my schedule, what the ISA is going to do is say, "Hey, if you've got a quick second, why don't I see if I can dial Bruce in really quickly?" And if they say yes, then they're going to dial me in, and I'll just kind of catch up just like I would if it was an initial call. But at least I know that it's going to be someone that's ready to talk. The majority of the time, it's most ISAs, unless they're highly, highly skilled, and this is very seasoned ISA, highly skilled. Most of the time you want that ISA, or they're going to be more comfortable passing you through a lead that you can then prep for and take the follow-up from there. So most of you that are going to be using an ISA, you should think of your ISA like a metal detector. So you've got a needle in a haystack. You get 100 leads, and there are about 3 of them in there that over time you're going to have a chance to work with. But you're going to end up calling those 100 leads about 5 or 6 times on average each to find those 3 leads. So some people use an ISA to get through those 500 or 600 calls and hand them the 3 really hot prospects out of the list. So that's what most ISAs are going to do. And then you're going to take the relationship from there and the follow-up from there. If you've got a good ISA, they're going to be able to handle live calls over to you, and sometimes even set a physical at the house appointment for you where you haven't had any interaction till you're face to face with the person. Hopefully,
Hey, Bruce,
hopefully that makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah. If I can add to that, my experience with ISAs, I think it's hugely beneficial, especially in our society of, we're living in a society of distractibility. So if you've got somebody and they're in tune with that conversation and they're ready and they've got the available time, if you have the ability to have your ISA connect you in and bring you in live, speed to lead here it gives you the opportunity to build a rapport. Now, in the comment, allowing time to prep, I would recommend that you have an approach for that initial conversation that allows you to build a rapport early and then do any homework as necessary, because the most important component is that human relationship connection, and establishing that right off the bat is going to be the best point of order, to being able to dive into the details. You don't need, your initial prospecting conversations. The way I take them in my business is really, I want to set the appointment. That's my goal. I don't necessarily want to dive too heavy into the details. I really want to be able to get face to face. So then I do have time to prepare before I meet them on site at the property, and I can help them with a strategy that's going to get them to what they want to do.
Mm-hmm. Yep. A live handoff is certainly more ideal. Let me tell you guys though, if you've got a really high dollar ISA that's great at a live handoff, go for it. Go for the live handoff. If you guys are a little more budget conscious, you're going ISA through an agency or someone offshore like that, just be prepared that the majority of the leads that come through won't be live handoffs. They're going to be, here's a person that's selling. This is their situation. This is their time frame. They said you could give them a call later this week. That's the average lead that comes from an ISA. So you should expect that that's what you're going to get, and you're going to have the time to prep. And you're going to know that they're open for you to call them sometime this week. If you have someone that is skilled, high dollar ISA, very skilled at live handoffs and physical appointments, then take the handoff. Don't worry about the prep time, because the handoff is going to give you the rapport, and the prep time can come after you've established rapport and set an appointment. So, great question. It's obviously a topic near and dear to me. So a couple of other questions. As a matter of fact, while we're on the topic of ISAs, I see an unbelievably talented ISA up in the top left corner of my screen with her hand raised, working for the Vergadamos, Sheila. And I want to hear from Sheila. Go ahead, Sheila. What do you got?
Yeah, I wanted to follow up on what Randy was asking, because I am an ISA. I don't have a lot of experience in real estate, been with the Vergadamos almost 2 years. But I find that, especially with probate leads, they're not really ready as soon as you get done talking to them to talk to my realtor. And he also says, he wants to put on the fact that he's a very busy guy. You've got to set up an appointment. So I usually tell them, when would you have time within the next week or two to speak with our realtor? I think he could give you a lot of good information. And that kind of puts them at ease, because they're not like, oh, I got to talk to somebody right now. Mm-hmm. And it also gives us time to prepare and do the CMA and get all the information together. I just set an appointment for him for next week with a lady who lives in Minnesota. Her aunt died here in Pasco County, Florida. And she told me, her aunt was 96 years old. They hadn't heard from her for a couple of weeks. They did a welfare check. The police went in and her body was already decomposed. Can you imagine? So she's going to talk to Paul next week. I didn't want to push her to talk to him immediately, but I did have over a 45-minute conversation with her. Mm-hmm. So it is, as long as you can just build that rapport, get as much information as you can, and let them talk, and have really great listening skills. Because if you just read by a script, they're going to know. You really have to listen to what they're saying and respond accordingly.
To Sheila's point, listening skills, conversation skills. A lot of people will list off all the questions that they feel like they need to get answered on that call. And in reality, guys, less is very frequently more. You all may have a list of 10 questions that you want the person to answer, and you go line by line. Hey, do you have other family members? Hey, have you cleaned the house out? Things like that. When in reality, the less is more approach could be as simple as, hey, tell me a little bit more about your situation. And all of a sudden you get 15 of your questions answered without even asking the question. So think about that. Remember, 2 ears, 1 mouth. I know that that's a cliche, but it's absolutely true. You want to talk a lot less than you are listening. When you do talk, you are teeing them up with things that are going to encourage their communication. The more they talk to you, the more rapport they're going to feel with you, the more they're going to like you. And it's absolutely true what Sheila said. They are not always ready to say, hey, come on out to the house on Tuesday night on that very first conversation. Sometimes they need to feel some comfort. So I like to have fallback positions when you're having those calls. So you may ask for an appointment and they go, no, I don't think I'm ready. Oh, hey, I completely get it. Instead of, oh, but I think you actually do need an appointment with me. Now you're fighting with them. You say, hey, I completely get it. It sounds like maybe just an additional conversation here in the next week or two, something a little more just on the phone would be better. No, I don't think I'm ready for that. Not a problem. All I'm going to do, I'll just fire you an email with some details on what we do. Maybe we can follow up later. What's a good email address for you? So have these fallback positions where you're still asking for the appointment. You're still asking for a specific follow-up time to go over detail. But when people reject or resist those things, you always have something to fall back to. And that way, at minimum, you can collect a lead. You can market to people, you can get an email, and then you have a place where you can establish credibility through email or through mail or something like that. Okay. So when you're calling, your idea is not to convince someone to do something that they don't want to do. That's not the goal. You're not going to win any points. A lot of times you'll convince someone and then they'll conveniently forget to do what you've convinced them to do. I've shown up to a house that an ISA set an appointment for me on, and all the lights are off and there's no cars in the driveway. And it's because they were convinced to do something that they had originally resisted, and they got pushed and pushed and pushed. And finally they just said yes, with the idea of, hey, I'm not going to show up here. I just want to get this person off of the phone. So always remember, rapport is your friend. You've got to build rapport. And you do that by accepting what people have told you with fallback plans. And worst case scenario, your fallback could be, I'm going to grab an email and I'm just going to shoot you some information on what we do. And then you can let me know when you're ready. Okay. That's something that a lot of people say yes to. And now you've got a line of communication and a way to market to them. Okay. So, all right. Perfect, guys. Couple of other questions that have come in, and these are in no particular order, so they don't all the pieces don't fit together. We'll try to pull some pieces together here in a little bit. But George had asked through chat about the CRM, and George asked if the CRM was going to be capable of connecting to our direct mail campaign. Absolutely. That's one of the biggest reasons that we're doing this, is we are going to make it really easy for you guys to order mailing through your CRM, and not just for probate leads, for your farms, for your additional types of lists, things like that. We're going to have ways that, and for individuals. So if you have a conversation with someone and they say, yeah, I'm going to sell a house, but not for 3 months. You say, hey, could I shoot you some information? Yeah. You say, what's a good email? I don't want to give you my email. You say, okay, I'll just send you a letter. You'll be able to go in, click a button, set a letter up, and have it sent out. Tim, don't shoot me if I'm wrong. But that's the idea, is you'll be able to order any marketing that you need, as small or as large as it needs to be, directly through the CRM.
Not just that. I mean, I think probably important to tell you that the whole point behind our 90-day program and behind the changes that we're making is to get you into a cyclical approach to doing your business. In other words, it's not that you're going to be doing these erratic activities that don't happen the same every time. Your business needs to be a replicatable, logical business. You're going to get leads once a month, or at least you're going to get your probate leads once a month. You may get divorce leads at a different time in the month. You may get FSBO leads at a different time in the month. You may have your own sources of leads that you get at a different time in the month, but all of those should start a clock. And you should be marketing in a cycle and repeat it month after month after month, or week after week, depending on what it is. And we're going to be giving you the ability to not only do it in direct mail, on the phone. We're going to be throwing some texting into the process to help you get that part of it done, email as well, so that everything you're doing is coordinated. So marketing is not just a one-shot deal. And that's the whole intent of the program, is to, over time, build a system that will allow you to run your business like a business and build it around that marketing. So Bruce said it correctly, but I'll hammer it home. Absolutely, you'll be able to order what you need to order to get that done and track it. And that's the key. It'll make you accountable for what you're doing.
Yep, absolutely. Trina asked, you're going to be making your first visits to the courthouse next week. What's the best way to introduce yourself to the probate court staff without being salesy? That's the key. Without being salesy, what you don't want is to walk in there and them go, oh gosh, I can't believe Trina is walking in here again. She drives me crazy. Let me go in the back and not come up. Okay. So when you go in, the idea is you're going to walk in, you're going to tell them, hey, I'm not here to file anything. I just wanted to see the system a little bit more. I'm providing a service for executors and heirs that are settling an estate. And I was curious if you could show me the process just so I can understand how to help folks a little bit more. That's it. All right. And then periodically pop in, ask for access into their records. Even if you're getting leads from us, just occasionally pop in, spend 5 minutes in, take a look at an estate, take a look at a file, 5 minutes and out. The idea here is frequency. There's a book called The Like Switch, Like. So not a light switch, but a like switch. Amazing book. And it's written by a CIA interrogator and an asset manager. So this person would go out into foreign environments and build assets. And he said when he'd identify an asset, his goal was to let them subconsciously see him for a few seconds every day before he'd ever even approach them. They'd see his face. They'd walk to the coffee shop and they'd see his face. They'd just pass him. And then they'd go in the grocery store and he'd walk by them on the aisle. And it was just consistently this small pieces of visibility. And then after a week or two, he'd go, hey, I've seen you before, right? And they'd say, yeah. And he'd introduce himself and then say, oh, hey, you know what? I'll leave you alone here. And he'd leave. Okay. And then another day or two later, he'd be like, man, we just keep bumping into each other. And it was just this gradual little over time drip that consciously they wouldn't recognize, but subconsciously they were picking up and they were building likability with someone that they just kept seeing. Okay. And then he'd make his approach. And it was amazing. One of the stories in the book, the asset, when he said he introduced himself and they said, well, what do you do? He said, oh, I work at the, I don't think he said I work for the CIA. I work for the embassy. And they said, I thought so. I bet you work for the CIA. And he said, oh, yeah, I do. And they were like, yeah, I need to talk to you. And it was just it was so easy because he had laid this groundwork of familiarity before he even made the approach that they almost fell into his lap. So read that book. It's an absolutely amazing book, but that's all you really need to do, Trina, or anyone else that's popping into the courthouse. Don't expect tons and tons of referrals from the clerk at the courthouse or the people that are working in the clerk's office. But it is really nice to have them in your corner, and it all starts with familiarity.
Sounds like a guide to being a good stalker.
It's a guide to being an amazing stalker. It's how to get it. And I know none of you are looking for jobs. It's actually how I landed my very first job.
You were stalking?
Oh yeah. I absolutely. I stalked a couple of the high level employees and made myself familiar to them. Bumped into them on accident at a bar. Talked to them and then said, hey, I've been looking to apply there. What's the process? And they introduced me. So hopefully none of you guys are out there looking for a 9-to-5 right now. But if you are, it's a great way to get a 9-to-5, familiarity and introductions. And that's one of the best ways to do it.
Or it's an excellent way to build a relationship with attorneys and have CFPs. And I mean, my goodness, this business is run on relationships, and leveraging those types of approaches. It's not sleazy. It's just intentional.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Absolutely. It's influential, not manipulative, not sleazy. Now you can make it sleazy and manipulative if you don't have ethics. If you have ethics and you truly have the best interest of your clients and the people that you're working with at heart, you owe it to yourself and you owe it to them to find ways to build these relationships. All right. What other questions do we have? Tim, we're coming up on the top of the hour. I can't believe it's gone so fast.
Yeah, it's we kind of zoom through the day. I think I want to go ahead and talk about our little special that we have. Alyssa, if you'll pop up the screen, I'll talk a little bit about that, and then Bruce, you and I can kick it around a little bit. Oh, before we do that, we got one hand up. Let's take Winston first. Winston, go ahead and unmute yourself there, bud.
I just wanted to share a win here for the week, and Bill already heard the story earlier in the week there, but closed a deal just before Christmas here last week. It was really cool. Helped make a wonderful Christmas, and I have to tell Bruce, I didn't use a script. Bruce, I just picked up the phone and did what I thought was natural, and so it took some time. It was a simple process that took a lot of work and follow through, but it worked out real well. And I'm hoping this will be a relationship that will be profitable into the future. And I took the leads I got back, I think it was around August or September. And I found it because I was just kind of checking addresses, and I found one that was fairly close to my neighborhood. Drove by the house, it looked like it definitely needed some love. Talked to a couple neighbors because I've sold in that neighborhood. And, gave the PR guy a call. But before I did, something told me, Google this guy. Just see who this guy is. And I Googled him, and he turned out to be a pretty well-known estate planning attorney in another county. So not that far away, but it was not in his backyard, this property. So I called him up and introduced myself, and I said, hey, I live in the neighborhood. I have clients in the area. I told him that I definitely work probate. Like to see if I can help you with this. The yard looks pretty bad. The neighbors are a little upset. Don't want to see you get any type of a code violation here from the city. I said, I can have my gardener who works in that area take care of the yard for you, clean it up a little bit. He says, please do. Did that, sent him before and after pictures. He was real happy. Decided to send him some title info, and some comps and all that. Followed up, was very happy with that. And then I said, is there anything else I can do for you? And I wasn't asking for the listing. I was just trying to do what you guys preach, and that is bring value to the table, provide a service that's needed, and without asking for anything. And he says, well, yeah. I said, I'm having a little problem there with the caretaker. The lady had passed away in May. This guy was still living there off and on. And I said, well, let me see what I can do. And I talked to a couple of neighbors, got a feel for the guy. And went to talk with him, and he was a little difficult, but we got him out. And then I had the locks changed. I got permission to do that. And again, just didn't ask for anything. And then I said, hey, I'm going to send you a key. He calls me up out of the blue, about a week later. And I was just in my grubbies from working at my house. And he says, hey, I'm in the neighborhood. Love to meet you. Let's get together. And he wanted to do it like that. And I said, I'm not really dressed to meet, I'm well-known estate planning attorney. And he laughed. He said, well, neither am I. I'll see you in 10 minutes. He knew I lived close by. So I showed up in my grubbies. We got along really well. We walked through the house. We could see it's a mess. It needed to be cleaned out. And they said, hey, I can do that for you. I have a service that provides all the services that you or an executor or administrator you will need. And he goes, do it. And so we cleaned it out, got him a nice tax receipt. And then I called him up to follow up. He says, man, you have earned the business. You have the listing. He did not question my price. He did not question the 6%. We got it done. We closed it just in time for Christmas. And I'm hoping, because he is pretty well known in the next county over, that will generate some future business. And, I thought it was exciting. And here's the thing that I hate to admit to you guys. I hate to admit this because I know better. Bruce has preached better. You guys have preached about this. That was my very first live phone call.
You're betting 100 or 1,000, 100%. Wow.
Yeah. I have to say, I said, I shouldn't admit this, but I wanted to tell you guys that I have fear reluctance. I usually work by referral because I've been around a long time. I finally just said, screw it, let's do it. Picked up the phone and boom. I'm hoping through the rapport that he and I have been building that it should, I hope, because his family, he has a son that's an attorney with him, a daughter that's an estate planning attorney with him. He's going to be turning it over to them. I want a chance to meet with them next week, take them all out to lunch. But I just want to let you guys know that it was a simple process. I just had to follow through the right way.
Amazing.
Awesome.
So what we need to do is have Winston take over the classes, and the marketing needs to be Winston gets 100% of his conversations turned into listing business.
That's where I was going with it as well.
Yep.
He's the best I've ever heard.
Well, I gotta, keep it up. I gotta keep it up. I know that's the key, but after that check came in just in time for Christmas and just seeing everything that we enjoyed because of that extra income there that week, it just motivated me to really pick up the phone, and hopefully I'll be giving you guys more success stories into 2023.
Hey,
I think we have no doubt.
I have one suggestion. The guy's in another county, and I don't know where that is, but maybe Riverside or wherever. And if he's in another county, I would suggest that you might want to add that county to your leads and start working that county and use him for referrals in that county and go build your presence over there. No reason you can't do that. I'd be all over that if I were you. You've got a leg up. That's something you can't pay for, bud.
Thanks, Tim.
Go get him, Tiger. Hey, we got one more hand up, and then I definitely want to take time for our deal here. So, David, go ahead and unmute yourself, and we'll go from there.
And those of you guys are going to want to stick around for the deal before David goes. Stick around for the deal. Don't leave. All right, David.
Okay, great. Thank you. Winston, congratulations. What a wonderful, encouraging story. Okay, I'm assuming you can hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, fantastic. Okay, could you just review, you mentioned earlier you have divorce leads and maybe some additional leads other than probate. Could you maybe review those, but also share with me and the group the Property Plus for old leads, old potential sellers that may be scattered in different areas? Thank you.
All right. I'm gonna keep the rabbit trail really short because the first additional lead sources the source that you mentioned was divorce. We don't have a lot of people that are doing divorce leads, and I think it's a travesty. As a producing agent and someone that's been a listing agent and an occasional investor for 20 years, divorce is an absolutely underserved niche. And the reason that people are scared to pick those leads up is because they're afraid to call and say, hey, I see you're divorcing John. Do you want to sell the house? And that's absolutely not the way that you do this. If that's your fear, is calling someone and saying, hey, I see you're getting divorced, and them saying, how do you even know that, and getting mad at you, put that out of your mind, because that's not the approach that you take. Divorce leads almost always have to sell a house. And the majority of the time, there's two purchases in the future. So a lot of you guys should give serious consideration to divorce leads. So that's one set of leads. The other additional source of leads that we are currently offering, we're going to talk about here in just a second with the promotion, but that's pre-probate. So this would be based off of a passing, of a death. And we'll give you guys some information on that in the promo. Not all of those people are going to go through probate. Some of them have trusts, and so they get to skip probate. Some of them aren't going to file probate for years. And so it's just your opportunity to shortcut leads that you might have otherwise missed for a year or 2 years if you were waiting on them to hit a probate list, because they may hit it much later. They may not hit it at all. So pre-probate. And then we've got some other lead sources that are coming out, but they are not ready just yet. Those will include bankruptcies, late notices, notices of default, different things like that. But they're not ready yet. Right. David, was there another question? Did I miss?
He asked about Property Plus, Bruce.
Oh, Property Plus on old historic leads. Yeah, Property Plus can be a big benefit on your historic leads. What I'll frequently do is run Property Plus when I get my initial list. That'll give me a chance to kind of knock out the 10, 15, 20, 30% of leads that don't seem like they ever had real estate or don't have real estate now. Save me some money on marketing. Personally, I don't do Property Plus if I'm not planning on doing a minimum of 4 mail touches, because that's kind of your break-even point if you're doing 4 mail touches. Now, I will sometimes do Property Plus even if I'm not doing mail touches, just so I can hone in and focus exclusively on those folks that I know very likely have real estate still. But if you're doing it as a cost savings measure, try to do minimum 4 mail touches, because that's where it'll start to save you money. I will also do Property Plus on a lead file once it hits like a 6-month time frame. And maybe I'm trying to do a little bit of extra marketing, and I want to figure out who the 30% of people are that still have real estate. And I just made 30% up. It might be 50, it might be 60, it might be 10. I don't know. It depends on your market. But I want to see, hey, this file's 6 months old. Who are those people that haven't sold yet? And then I may also do it at a year, or if I pick up a really old list that's 9, 10, 12 months old, 18 months old, probably going to run Property Plus just so I know that smaller percentage of people to go and focus on. So there's a couple of different points when you might want to consider Property Plus. I would do it on a historic file for no other reason than just scrub out all the people that have already moved, already sold.
Yeah, time is money. I mean, it's going to save you a bunch of work. I mean, can you look it up? Yes, but this is going to give you data nationwide. It's going to give you other opportunities and turn that around while you can be focused on other income producing activities.
Okay, so let's take the last little bit of time. Thanks for sticking around, guys. I see all of you have pretty much. Alyssa, if you'll pop your slide up. Alyssa, there we go. So we've talked a good bit about attorneys today. Just it's interesting whenever we plan something, how things end up sort of coming out. One of the things that we know is important is that attorney relationship. So it's going to be a key to a lot of the things that we're doing next year. And we've talked a little bit about this over the last couple of weeks about potentially using pre-probate to be that ability, the magic key to get in to see the attorneys. And what we mean by that is that an easy way to get an attorney's time and their ear is to say, hey, I've got a customer that needs a probate attorney. Are you taking new customers? And so what we did is we came up with a real simple end of the year, kind of a simple thing to get you started and maybe get you started on pre-probate, those of you who haven't been doing that, and a little bit of training to help you understand the best way to get this done. So what we're going to do is Bruce is putting together a little class, which we're going to do next Thursday, right after this call at 2:30 next Thursday, a class on using pre-probate to become the attorney referral magnet you need to be. And that'll be a great way for you to get started with a new arrow in your quiver for next year. And we've got 3 options to kind of help you do this. If you already are a current probate subscriber and a pre-probate subscriber, then it's $99 for this special referral magnet class that we're putting together. The second option is if you're a current probate subscriber, but you don't have pre-probate, then it's $199. And for that, you're going to get $100 worth of pre-probate leads and the class. If you're not a subscriber at all and you want to get started with both of these, kind of get your feet wet on what we're doing, this is the easiest way we've ever offered to be able to get that done. And that gets you $100 in pre-probate leads, $100 in historical probate leads in your county if they're available, and $99 for the class. We're making the offer good through next Thursday so that we'll probably cover it again in the beginning of the call next week, real briefly, so that if anybody hadn't heard about it and gets on the call, they can still do it. And if they want to make time to jump into the class right after the call, we can do that. The class will run short of an hour next week, and it's specifically designed around this tight little niche here, where how you use pre-probate to do that. And Bruce, you said I'd talk a little bit about pre-probate. You know what probate is. You know that we get all that data starting with the probate being filed, and with probate, you know that you're dealing with the personal representative. In pre-probate, you absolutely don't have a personal representative that's been appointed. Pre-probate begins with a notice of death. That can be either a legal notice, it can be a notice coming from funeral homes, it can be things coming out of legacy. We get this data from a lot of different resources, and then we aggregate that information and put it through our filtering system that we developed to start with probate. So we have a bunch of augmentation that we do to try to pull down as many of the errors as we can, some of which may or may not be the person, may or may not turn out to be the person who becomes the personal representative, but all of them appear to have a relationship to the person who passed away. Not 100% accurate, but they're as accurate as they can be made. And like everything else, it's targeting. So that's what this is all about. So the idea here is that if you're talking to the pre-probate people and you find that they are unrepresented, that there is no attorney, or that, you know, the person died intestate, there's a lot of stuff that they don't know, they don't understand anything. Your first avenue of approach is to say, I've got an attorney who can help you with this. It's one of the services I provide. So we're going to teach you how to make that linkage, how to make that work, how to tie that piece up in a nice tight little bow and make that an absolute locked in part of your business, where you've got that great relationship, just like, you know, Winston had with that attorney that he talked about. And just like almost everyone that's on these calls that we know does well, they've developed great relationships with attorneys. Roger Lisi's not on today, but Roger is down in, the backwoods of Arkansas, and he's built a great business out of that attorney referral side of his business. He gets his leads every month. He does what he's got to go do. And now about half of what he gets coming in the door is coming out of that lead referral from the attorney side. And we'll teach you how to provide value for those people once you get them, how to grow that relationship. So that's the program. It's either $99 to learn the program, $199 if you're already a subscriber for regular probate, and get you $100 in pre-probate. If you're not a subscriber for anything, it's a great way to get your feet wet in the wonderful things that we do. $100 for pre-probate leads, $100 worth of them, $100 worth of historical probate leads in your county if they're available, and $99 for the class. Good through next Thursday. To do it, simply call in, talk to us. We'll be happy to get you set up with it. Your account rep will be happy to get you squared away. Support knows what is going down. We talked to everybody right before the class, and we're excited about offering this kind of an end of the year thing as a reward to you to get you started, and certainly a loss leader for us. But we want to just add as much as we can in terms of value to your life. So that's kind of where we are with this. We think this is a great program. And Trina, you asked if it's a month-to-month subscription. This is a one-time deal for this. You can certainly subscribe to more, and we hope that you will, but that's kind of why people run sales. We want you to get your feet wet, and we're certainly going to want you to stick around with us as we go. I'd like to offer one other thing, and that's to Winston. Just kudos for that. What a great way to end our year with a great story from, kind of brought everything together that we do. And we appreciate that. We appreciate you and everything that we've been to each other this year. We hope we see you next week, and have a great 2023 and a safe, happy holiday with you and your family.
And
Jimbo,
Tim, if I
go
could,
ahead, man. It's all you.
Before I close, one thing I just wanted to add there, that this is probably already clear to most of you, but it may not be. And the brilliance of this program is you need both lists. You need the probate list, take your probate list, sort it, and determine who your top 10 or 12 attorneys are. Then you take the pre-probate list and find out who the executors are that need help. So you're working two different lists and matching the attorneys from one list with the leads from the other. And that's kind of the brilliance of this, and to give you that ability to, to get both of those sources that you're going to need to put them together.
Yeah,
Anyway,
I might
just in
have
case.
said that.
What's that?
I said, yeah, I might should have added that. Good job.
Yeah, it struck me, it might be sounding a little complicated to people, like, why do I need this? So just in case you fit that category, that's the purpose behind it. And I want to echo what Tim said. Well, first of all, as I always do, thank each and every one of you for being here. Great turnout for the end of the year. I want to particularly thank, pretty obvious who our winner of the week was, Winston. And I want to challenge each of you, take one thing, maybe Winston's idea, like actually call people and go out and put it into practice. And please come back next Thursday and share your results with the group. Happy New Year, everybody. We'll talk to you the same time next Thursday. Take care.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. Goodbye.